Hi, hi everyone, and welcome to Nancy Jean's Garden. And even though it's the bright light of day, we have Dorothy Morgan that talks about what's going on all above us.
At night. Unless it's a solar eclipse, and then it will be during the day.
Oh, I did that, and I'm not. I don't think I'm ever going to sit through another solar eclipse. I mean, it was enchanting and wonderful. I don't think I'm going to live long enough to see another one here, and I ain't
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be
Um,
a little while. I don't know how many years. I can't remember that right now. That was not on my radar. There's way too many other things on my radar right now. We do have while Nancy's coughing up a lung, um, we do have a lunar eclipse coming up on, it depends on where you live, but it's either the night of the 13th or in the middle of the morning on the 14th. It's right around 3 p.m. Eastern on the 3 a.m. Eastern on the 14th, but it
2 a.m.
depends on.
my time.
Right. If you're on the Pacific, if you're out in California, it'd be just before midnight. If it's at night and if the moon is above, if it's nighttime during a lunar eclipse, you will be able to see it. But I know the last one we had 6 months ago, it wasn't overly spectacular, just because of the shadow.
Hmm.
And it didn't even look like it was an eclipse. You couldn't even tell the difference. It was just the
Hmm.
shadow was just so minor. But needless to say, full moons are always illuminating, and full moon eclipses definitely have a lot to say. And we're just jumping right in, aren't we? This one coming up on Thursday night, Friday morning. For real, it's in Virgo, so it's absolutely about honing in on the details that we can't let go of because it's with the South Node. And so that is, something that we all need to pay attention to in our own lives because there is just so much stress and the energy is just through the
Really?
roof. Yeah,
You're
you think?
kidding. I think. Yeah, every
We
every day it's like, you know what it feels like? It feels like the uh, in Exodus when the plagues and all the things are coming through
Mhm.
the community in Egypt, and especially the death of the eldest son.
Mhm.
And if you're Jewish, you knew what to do, and if you weren't Jewish, you just got stuck with the consequences of this incredibly loving God that was in the Old Testament.
I
Um,
know. I know.
But and I was sitting there and I was thinking, I wonder what sort of things we could put on the lintels of our front doors to protect us. I thought, I'll go get two MAGA hats and nail them up there. Maybe they'll go, but they didn't. They hit my house yesterday. They have stopped all forgiveness of student loans,
That's
and
terrible.
they're because of how it's been done. There's already been a suit filed about it, so
Mhm.
apparently nothing will really be decided till April of next year.
Yeah.
But to one of my kids, it's the difference between since she's always worked for public institutions and in education and for nonprofits. Her
Mhm.
payments have been very, very reasonable. I mean, first of
Yeah.
all, she shouldn't be paying what she's paying. When she left school in the year 2000, for those of you who think, oh, I'm buying
Mhm.
some kid a free trip,
Yeah.
when she left in 2000, she owed not quite $30,000.
Yeah.
And then, which was a reasonable amount if you're 20 and starting out and getting a job and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Then George Bush sold all the student loans to commercial bankers.
Yeah.
And she left school owing $30,000, but with all the interest payments and all the ways they've shifted it around, it's somewhere close to $70,000 now. Now, if you bought a house
I
for
know.
$30,000, you would not expect to ever have, unless you borrowed money against it, which you didn't. Well, anyway, because she's worked, she got on a special thing where if she paid so many years every month on time, da,
Mhm.
da, and she's within a year and a half of paying it off under that matter. All of a sudden, her payments jump because she was under the special program to almost $800 a month.
Yeah. And people can't even live. They can't even live. It's just like the money. And a lot of these things, while Venus retrograde has to do with a lot of money, there are deeper stories There are deeper ways to look at it astrologically, but with Venus retrograding right now, a lot of people with finances in situations like that really do have, really is in play. It's the everyday stuff. It's not the stock market. That is another whole big, very intricate astrological
That's just
specialty.
that's Las Vegas in New York. It's I
And
mean it's nothing but it's a betting game. It's nothing.
yeah, but just to be clear, so people don't think that saying Venus retrograde is causing the stock market. That's not that piece. There's a lot of other more
I
bigger things in play. But
I think of Venus as being close to your heart, things that are close, things that are going to stab you. You know,
it is, as well as your finances, because
Mhm,
Venus is the planet. She is at this moment in time. Excuse me. She rules,
mhm,
Taurus. So what we love, what we value, what's important to us, as well, and how we earn, use skills and talents to earn money. It is about money and what we
mhm.
value, as well as she also rules Libra. So as well as our partnerships, relationships. And so there is a lot going on there when it comes to Venus retrograde. Today, on the day we're recording this, which is March 11, Mercury is also it's conjunct. It's not quite retrograde. It retrogrades
Mhm,
24 hours after the lunar eclipse.
mhm. Yes.
I tell you, we have a whole.
To those of you who have a notepad out, write this date and those facts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can also get on my YouTube channel, and I do a lot
Right.
of I do dailies there. It's so odd. I do dailies, and I've 2 or 3 long form videos there every month as well.
Mhm.
And then yeah, shameless plug. I have Patreon, which is just a monthly thing where
I
people
have a
can
more
go.
shameless plug at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the
Dorothy.
Patreon is a month to month,
Mhm,
and it's where you can get. I go much deeper. I can only
mhm.
give so much away for free, so I do have to pay my rent, just like everybody else. But yeah, what do you have up, Nancy Jean? Oh yeah,
We got
a
one
new
quick
thing.
question.
Yes.
Dorothy's doing one quick question, and I have a series of different sorts of ways I can read people 3 months and stuff. And Dorothy and I were talking
Yeah.
about it. And next time she talked to me, she said, I'm going to do this one quick question. And
Hmm.
I didn't put all what you use, but you use Astro dice, which is interesting.
Those are so fun. I have them right here.
Yeah.
They're wonderful. I haven't. Some of you who follow me here, because I know a lot of you follow me as well, um, that are your followers too, Nancy Jean. Um, I used to do this on my dailies, but I don't. And they're, if I can show you, let's see. I'll just one at a time. They're 12-sided dice that have symbols on them. So this one is the planets. This one is the zodiac signs, and then we have one that is for the houses. So you just give them a roll, you know. And so I'm going to use all of my skills and talents. It's just one question. So what it is it's in my shop. So you go to my website and you find the tab that says shop, and you click on that, and you'll find it in there. And it's really is just for one question. If you have something, and you'll get a form after you book your session, and I'll record it and send it to you. It's kind of like what's it called? What's it called? Carousel? Is it called Carousel? There's a whole new app. There's a whole app out there where you can just ask people one question, and they give you a video answer, and that's what it will be. And it's fun. It's quick. It's easy. That's like, and you guys are hearing it first. I haven't announced it to anybody yet. So ta-da!
Yay! Well, you announced it to me so that I knew.
We'll do
Um,
it with Nancy. Well, yeah, but no,
but,
publicly.
but Dorothy and I were talking about it. If you can get a reader who gives you something that's taped,
Yeah.
it's so like I did a year thing for Dorothy, and she went. I said, "Go back and look at your year thing," because I think I remembered something in the spring. She went back, she heard what I said, and realized, "Oh, I could be handling this thing this way,"
Yeah.
and she did it. Um, and
Yeah.
shameless plug for me. Uh,
Exactly.
in June, I'm going to be doing the last uh, 6 months of the year, June to December.
Yeah.
And last time when I started posting my 6 month readings last fall, I thought, oh, I I'm never, no one's gonna want to know a year reading. I have some readers I read for. It's a Christmas gift to them, but
Hmm.
and I really got a lot of people, and I had a lot of people And it was amazing because you start to see the pattern through the year because you're seeing it through a lot of different people and a lot of different aspects.
Yes, and I love that. That's why I went back, and that's why I keep it. And I went back and listened to it. I have somebody else who does cardology, and we share.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't get too many readings for myself, because
I don't let
astrology.
I'm weird. I don't let anybody. Dorothy does my chart because I think chart's a little different than a reading.
Mhm.
But cards and stuff, occasionally I'll swap with somebody. But quite honestly, I like the thrill of the sudden happenings.
There you
Keep
go.
me alive.
There
They
you go.
raise my blood pressure and make sure I'm still alive.
Indeed, indeed.
I
So
mean,
yeah, that's a new thing we have up, and the Patreon is there. And Nancy Jean, you were right, because I wrote notes here actually when I was re-listening to it. I wrote
mhm.
notes about it, and it's like, oh, tell Nancy Jean this. And so yeah, there was just going against old patterns and things like that for March, and that is something big that's going on. I'm not going to share my personal story for
No.
everybody here, but there is some major things that I absolutely have to let go of, so some other things can move forward. It's when I read that, and the thing I needed to do, I was like, oh, I just don't want to do it. I was resistant to it. And it's just like, no, all right, it feels good. As soon as I made the choice, then I looked at the astrology and I'm like, oh, right, this is what I should be doing. And it just worked out really well. So it's nice to have that confirmation
Mm-hmm.
during or just after the fact, in a sense. But
And
yeah,
it does give you a kick in the butt, and it's not just my imagination.
no,
You know,
it's not. It's pretty
but
good.
okay, I'm looking to see. We've had a couple questions show up,
Okay.
and I don't
Our
know.
questions need to be in all caps, right? So we can
Yeah, they're
find them.
supposed to be in all caps, but this person, I think she types on her phone, and that's her excuse.
We can just double click the up arrow. That makes it.
Yeah, well, it's you can get hi y'all in there. Leo,
Hi, y'all. All right.
Leo, Sun, and Moon, Libra rising. How will this moon in Libra affect me? This eclipse.
The eclipse is in Virgo.
That's what I thought.
Hmm.
So, Rose, we don't know about the moon in Libra, but we'll make a stab at Virgo. Just scratch out Libra and put in Virgo.
Yeah, the moon's in Virgo. But whenever the moon's moving through the sign of Libra, that just means that the moon is coming across your ascendant at some point in a 2.5 hour,
Mm-hmm.
a 2.5 day time period, because we don't know
Mm-hmm.
what your number is, and that happens every single month.
Mm-hmm.
That the moon will be in the same place, not every day of the month, because a moon cycle is 29, just under 29 days, and our calendars are very varied.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just say once a month, the moon will come across the ascendant, and that just highlights what you need as a person, as emotion, as feeling, and in your partnerships and relationships, because that's Libra. So Libra rising means you're really focused on partnerships and relationships. It doesn't mean you have a lot of them. It means you're really focused on it, whether you're focused on it because you have too many partnerships or none, because
Mm-hmm.
both of those use the same energy, just the two sides of the same coin, if you will. So when the moon moves across that, then that sensitizes that position in your chart. And of course, there's always other major things going on. There's always a lot. Unfortunately, we tend to isolate because we have to isolate when we're asking about one specific thing, but then there's always more layers.
Always what
That's why.
balanced it and all the other stuff. I have a close friend, and we talk pretty much not every day, but most days. And his ascendant is exactly where the full lunar eclipse is.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's definitely a big change. So is my daughter's too. Oh, she won't wait to say. Sorry.
We're gonna follow her around and see what happens.
23 degrees of Virgo is where this is. And so
Mhm.
it's very sensitive. It's a very sensitive spot. I have something there as well. And that just, the eclipse is going to bring something to your attention. So
Mhm.
that is what's going to be really important.
I have
Yeah.
absolutely nothing in Virgo, but one of my best friends is a Virgo, and
That's
boy,
all right. Virgo's somewhere in the chart,
well,
though.
I
I
know
don't
it's
have,
in your. I know I
it's in
didn't
there.
knock it out of my chart, but
Yeah.
I don't have anything sitting there saying, "Look at me, look at me." Barbara, I cried last night. I don't know if it was mine or for the collective, It's for both, hon,
I
and
was going to say that too. It's both. You can't help it. We're feeling it, you know?
it's awful.
These are
Good thing.
probably messages. I'm doing the Astro dice. I got Mars in
Okay.
Pisces in the third house, and to answer Barb's question, and that shows me that you're angry. It's the inner. We're pissed off about certain things,
Hmm.
and even the crying and the sadness doesn't have to feel like anger, but it isn't. It can bubble up and express itself that way. Not knowing anything about your chart, um, and the Pisces, where the sun is, where Saturn is right now, that Pisces energy is always incredibly sensitive. So we will feel what others are going through. Third house means that it's just a message coming through. So if you had to cry it out, then good for you. Glad that you can move through it. That's
Hmm.
important. Yeah.
And let's see. I'm trying to. I
I
don't
saw
like
one.
that other readers, but there is a reader who's been saying everybody needs to know what's on the 29th degree of Pisces on your
Mhm. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I read that. I can't show you that here because we don't have a chart. I don't have a chart up, and
chart.
everybody's chart dial is different. You just need to go through your chart, find where Pisces is, find where Aries is, because they're right next to each other,
Hmm.
and that's where 29 degrees of Pisces is.
I
It's
found
it's
I found
mhm,
Astrocom. Is that what it's called? You can go there and put in your birth date and
mhm,
the time you're born, and it will draw the chart. If you don't know what time you're born, I actually have a
mhm.
person I'm teaching other occult arts to who doesn't know what day she was born because she was born in an orphanage in Asia.
Yeah. I have that with a fair number of, because I know in a certain time period, it was like the 1980s.
Yeah,
There was a lot of baby
she's a
girls.
Korean. She's a Korean war baby, but
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Yeah, that would do it.
um, and there's a way to do that. It's called rectification. And she said she's happy with kind of being a star child in the universe. But
That's terrific. Yeah, that's good.
I'm like, I'm all for that. She's very, very intuitive, very skilled. She
Yeah.
apparently doesn't need the same guiding lights the rest of us like to cling to.
True enough. True enough. Because that's okay too.
But
You know,
if you can go there, you can go to it's Astro ASTRO.
astro.com. Yeah.
And I've used it now. They will give you provisos. I am one of those weird children born in a period of time when, for some reason or another, the state of Illinois was not recording things in daylight time or whatever that stupid
Oh,
thing.
it's so confusing. Can you imagine if they leave it up to the states to decide here in the US if they're going to do daylight savings time or not?
Yeah,
Oh
that's.
my
I mean, it's not
God.
going to be fun. But because I drew my own chart
Hmm.
years ago, and I worked with a good astrologer named
Hmm.
Helen, that Dorothy reminds me a lot of Helen, very practical about things. And so she
Nice.
and I played with it, and we finally came up with that I'm at 27 point some minutes of
Hmm.
Scorpio
Yeah.
because it's an hour different from what they have on my birth certificate. But my mother knows what the clock said. She doesn't care what the nuns
Hmm.
wrote down in the hospital.
Yeah.
So that would be my and but even if you don't know that, if
Hmm.
you can just get your date chart, the chart drawn from your day, it'll
Hmm.
show if some planet's sitting right on 29 degrees of
It
Pisces.
will. Yeah. The only issue with that is the birth time is will show you where it is because
Yeah, the birth
just
time
like
with the
just like
sun.
a clock, a dial and a clock. I mean, depending on what time you're born, that whole dial just clicks a minute, a minute, a minute, and so depending on where it is in your own astrology chart is important too. So I go over things like that in Patreon. So if you feel like supporting
Yeah,
me over there, you
and
can get that
is
content. Yeah.
the other thing that Dorothy has is her classes. So not the classes. That's the classes.
Hmm.
Full beginner course, which will tell you how
Yeah.
to draft your own chart, and then a class on Mercury. And since everybody always loses their crap over Mercury being retrograde,
I
that's now.
know.
I don't. I don't really understand that. But I have a
Yeah.
friend who every time Mercury went retrograde, she ran a vintage store. Her phones would go out in the store. So I quit telling her because her soul was so tied to that store. I thought, well, maybe if I tell her, and she would get none of information like that from anywhere else. I didn't tell her in the morning. They were not there. So
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. Anyway, the best way to learn about astrology is egoistically from what's happening around me because it's easy. It can be
Yeah.
the easiest for you to see if your eyes are open.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a fair amount of students and throughout the years. And the first hurdle to get over is to how you start to use it. Because I hear, I can't remember everything. And it's like, of course you can't. It's a
Hmm.
language. You have to immerse yourself in it. So when you first, the course I teach, the beginner course, it's all, you can just self-serve because I finally did it.
Hmm.
Just you buy it and you get all of the videos and all the content. You can go through it at your own pace. And that's all fine, but pulling it all together. And that is something that you have to practice on. You have to practice that. So you start off with your own chart when you go through this essential beginner course.
Hmm.
And then you just have to, then you start grabbing other people's charts that good friends,
Hmm.
people like that. And that you just have to practice it. You have to practice it and you need to stay in your lane because if
Hmm.
you start like veering off and learning about this technique, that technique, that technique. But if I asked you, can you just list off the elements for me and what signs are in each element and you can't do it, you shouldn't be off doing all these other things. You can listen to them for fun, but don't think that you're going to go study it if you don't have a good foundation because you
And
get confused and then you get frustrated and then you're out. And it's like, oh, we don't want you out. We want you in, you
it's
know?
like a friend of mine who said it's too much like geometry. And so I finally convinced her why it wasn't. And to
It's
look
not.
just stay in your own lane. Because when you listen to the archetypical astrologers and some of the other stuff they get into, I just go, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Here's one. I'm Virgo sun, Virgo rising, and Aries moon.
Hmm. Nice.
That's
That means you were born at sunrise. So the sun's either in the first house or the 12th house. So that means you were born at sunrise. So yeah, Virgo rising. So that full moon lunar eclipse on the 14th
ought to be all
is
kinds of fun for you.
going to be near your ascendant somewhere because that eclipse is at 23 degrees of Virgo, almost 24. And, I don't know what your ascendant is. There's full 30 degrees that it could be. So the sun will either be in the moon will either be in the first or the 12th. And yeah, so there you go. I know. And then that's nice because that means it's going to illuminate this full moon lunar eclipse, no matter
Mhm.
whether you have it on your ascendant or where you have it. You have to be able to read that piece of your chart and just know
Mhm.
where all those things are. And it just tells you that you're going to focus on, am I honing into, am I becoming too analytical? Because that Virgo rising, you guys
Mhm.
can be really particular about a lot of things, but really messy about other things, right? And we all
Mhm.
have Virgo somewhere, so I'm not just picking on you, but that full moon and that south node, transiting south node, is there. And so it's absolutely about letting some things go that you feel are purely identify you, especially if you have that rising. It's
Mhm.
like, well, I'm always known because I always fill in the list, not just the blank, fill in the
Yep.
list. And it's like, you might want to shorten that list now.
Well, I have a friend who's Virgo, and she she was 6 feet tall, so you always knew where she was. She had no choice.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got another lurker in the room, and this one's important because
Oh, hi, Danny Shay.
Danny Shay is going live with Janny Shay this Thursday at 11:30. Elementary, our dear viewers, and getting ready for the equinox. So the elementals that I talk with and deal with,
Oh,
they
good.
wanted me to do a show with Danny, and we're gonna talk about the elementals and how they work. One of my elementals came to me and said, "There's a tree that Danny walks by every day that's reaching out to him. Why isn't he responding?" So I called Danny and I left him the message. I guess my Hogarth, my guide tree, is not real good at dialing phones. So I called Danny and he goes, how'd you know? And there is a tree that's been, he almost felt like it was trying to grab him. I said, it is. So we're going to talk about all that fun and games with the elementals.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And Virgo is an earth sign. So that's really nice.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Okay. And we're talking to all these Virgo people. No, we're not.
I know.
Talking to a Scorpio sun, Libra moon, and Aries rising.
Mm-hmm.
I take it's Aries because I don't know what sign Arius. So
Aries. I got that thing's mixed. Yeah. Aries rising. Definitely some feisty stuff. Yeah.
well, you're going to have a fun year because like everything's going into Aries this year. Isn't that in 25 and 26?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, it's happening now. Yeah. It'd be Neptune enters Aries coming on March 30th.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it here. It's in front of me. March 30th, Saturn and
November. Yeah.
Hmm?
It stays there for November and then comes back.
Right. Yeah. Actually, so Neptune in Aries, March 30th to October 22nd.
Mhm.
Then it comes back in January of 2026 until 2039. So it's a long time after that. And Saturn in 24th until September 1st. And then it retrogrades back into Pisces like Neptune did. And then it will move back into Aries in February of 2026 through April of 2028. And so when we have that, those two shifting, yeah. And so the 29 degrees of Pisces, which a few of you have mentioned, is the last degree of the zodiac. And so that's the finality, that's the finish, that's the completion, that's the all. That's everything, It's just like if ever you watch that Highlander movie at the very, very end when he kills all the other beings and he's the only immortal one left. And he's like, I feel everything. I see everything. I am everything. That's 29 degrees of Pisces to me. It's like, it's just the finish, the knowing of all. And when we get, and the surrender of it all too, right? It's the absolute surrendering of everything. And then when these planets shift into Aries on these different dates, then, that's a new initiation period. But Saturn and Neptune, like we've said, go forward and then go back into Pisces and then come back again. So 2025 and 2026 just has a lot of real big shifts. So it's just what it is. And then a lot of the other planets too. I've gone over that with you guys before.
Yeah. Be careful what you decide to do as big planets move into your sign. The day that Uranus moved into Taurus was the day that I dyed my hair purple.
Yeah, this is big things. It's going into Gemini in July. I know, 7th.
But I'm not going to let it go back to gray. It's going to stay purple.
It's going to stay purple. Yeah.
And then this one's got one. My son has a sun at 15 Virgo, 4th house. She can't. I mean, there's only so much you can kind of look at the broad brush, guys.
All right. Well, it's the sun's in the middle of Virgo, so that's nice. So he's definitely a nice Virgo type person, and Gemini rising. So that means Mercury is the chart ruler and the sun ruler. So Mercury, the planet Mercury in his chart, is really important. So whenever Mercury is doing anything in the sky, like it is today, it's going to have a little more of an impact on somebody that has their chart ruler is Mercury and their sun sign ruler is Mercury. So there's a lot of information there. And so follow Mercury a lot. So he'll be somebody who is quite not necessarily ruled by it, because we don't ever want to be ruled by the stars, but he's definitely influenced, if you will.
Seems following. Can follow his chart. You're born on March 13th. My oldest son's birthday is this 13th. Nice. And he's 50. I can tell you where I was 50 years ago.
You can. I know, it's funny. There's an old meme going out there right now where I think it's from 2020. To be honest with you, it's I've seen a lot of people post it, and people should know better. It's like, okay, this week started with daylight savings time, a full moon, Friday the 13th, and then I can't remember the fourth thing. First off, we have it is first two are correct. add lunar eclipse.
Hmm.
Friday's the 14th. I had to look.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say Friday. The
It's
last
the
Friday, the
14th.
13th, was
Yeah.
in 2020, and that's when.
Oh yeah. The fourth thing was and wash your hands, and it's like
Oh, it was a
so.
2020 thing. Yeah.
So I knew it was a 2020, but people are reposting it right now, and it's
Yeah.
like okay, that's
He had a
okay.
birthday party on the 13th when we
Yeah,
knew that was the day. The 14th was the day everything in Texas was
yeah,
closing down in 2020. And
yeah.
he said it was the weirdest birthday party. They were all standing as close to the wall as they could and trying not to touch anything. And they were all parents with young children.
Yeah,
So anyway,
yeah,
fun time. So now
for real.
he's in Green Bay freezing his butt off. But
So
for the
in Indigo Child, I'm just kind of doing the math in my head because I'm not going to cast a chart. But if you were born at 4 a.m. in March, that means that so you're a Pisces, you probably have Aquarius on the ascendant. It's just a guess.
Mhm.
But it's going to be something like that. So Indigo Child, that's appropriate for Aquarius rising because you guys
Right, I
have
was
to
gonna
be
say that fits.
you have to distinguish yourself from others in a unique way, which is wonderful. That's your if you do have Aquarius rising, you're advocate for others, and you're out there just really pushing your own agenda and supporting people.
My
Bigger.
experience with people born on March 13th is that it seems to be their life job to push
Yeah.
their own agenda. I'm an Aries sun, early degrees Taurus moon with Libra rising.
Okay. We're doing the three specialties.
Mhm.
It's more than that, folks. It's more than that, but those are definitely fun things to know. I know just 10 years ago, people wouldn't know those three things. So I'm really happy and proud of you guys to know that much because it's wonderful. After that, if you want to know more, as I go through my classes, because I'm recording them now, take the fundamental class. I would start there. But if you want to know what your Mercury sign is, because that's how you communicate. You want to know what your Venus sign is, because that's how you love and what you
Mhm.
value. You want to know what your Mars sign is, because Mars is where and how we act and take action.
Mhm.
And on and on and on. So I challenge you guys who know the sun, moon, and rising to go on and learn about the next three, which is Mercury, Venus, and Mars
Mhm.
in your own charts, and play with that too. Of course, there's always things that are going to flavor that and shift it a little bit, depending on how they're interconnected. But there is that. So yeah, Aries Sun just is somebody who's just very, very driven. You guys are good leaders
Yeah,
and
my
good.
that's what my older sister was. And
Yeah.
the most fun guy I ever dated, I knew we'd never get married, but he was my playmate. We just, oh, let's catch a plane and go to California, and we do it. I mean, I was back
That's
in.
Aries. They just, oh, let's go do this. Let's go do that. It's just like no matter what your chronological age, you're always going to have your inner child.
He always
Um,
played.
your inner child is always going to want to just go and explore and learn something new and
Mhm.
continue to do. But you're good at initiating ideas and coming up with ideas. And then you assign it to somebody else so they can continue on, because you're not always so great at finishing things. But there's other things in a chart that would tell us if you're good or not. But early degree Taurus moon, that means you're born at a new moon phase. If the sun and if the moon's the next sign after the sun. So you're a new moon baby. So that also encourages you to play, just to have
Mhm.
fun, and you want to explore new things. Taurus moon is really food oriented too, the senses. I need to touch, I need to smell, I need to taste, see, hear. And that's the
Mhm.
Taurus moon. And Libra rising is again more relationship oriented. So yeah, have a partner to travel with, have a partner to go do fun stuff with. That's just it in a nutshell. There's
Yeah,
always a lot more that's deeper.
and this one eclipse was conjunct her Neptune. I thought she said when I first read it, it looked like my nephew, and I was like, well, it's going to be over everybody. I don't know.
That's great. All right, eclipse is conjunct my Neptune in the seventh. All right, so something that's generational. Got a lot of people that have that. So I don't know. Nope, drawing a blank. That Neptune in Virgo. Neptune in Virgo. I find that hard. Nah. Where's my ephemeris? I put it away. When was Neptune in Virgo? I don't even believe that. I think it's a Scorpio. I don't believe it. Neptune's not in Virgo. Neptune hasn't been in Virgo since before the 1960s. So I don't believe
You
it.
never know how old.
No, it's not. No, it's got to be Scorpio. People sometimes
Mm.
people misread Virgo and Scorpio. So so it's probably, I don't know. I can't answer it. I can't picture it.
Okay, so that's gone.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, this is for Danny. You get to start your show when you get out of your bathrobe and feed Psychic Duck. Okay. It will be early in the morning for him. It'll be in the 11:30 for me. Oh, okay. Barbara, you're a person who could go to astro.com. You know enough. I mean, you know the year you were born, I presume. I know, I've met her. She knows it. And the time. Go get a chart done on Astrocom, and then you'll have something to start from.
Or come and see me.
Or come and
I do sessions.
Dorothy
There's an
will
option
do
in
all
there.
for you. And Dorothy is very, very good. Matter of fact, last week was our 6-year anniversary of knowing each other, because
I know.
it's when I built my first grid. And then the next day on my grid, I said, I just want fun, prosperous things just to come to me. And the next day I opened up an email, and it was from this astrologer in New Hampshire, NH astrologer, who was offering me a free reading because I'd written a comment to her.
You signed up to be on my newsletter.
That's right.
Yeah, that's when I was when I didn't have it automated on my website. That changed a few years back, but yeah, it's just a way to get email.
Yeah, it was 6 years ago. So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I told Dorothy, well, I've had astrology. And so she said, I'll do a progress chart. And it was a very fun thing. I'd never had a progress chart done before. It was very enlightening. So Barbara, go to Dorothy's website, Dorothy Morgan Astrologer, and see how she can help you.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an 8/8 Lionsgate, baby.
Lionsgate portal, baby. Oh, how nice. I don't play with the portals. I mean, they don't. I really hone in on the astrology, the portals. I respect them because that's just what everybody, a lot of people are really interested in them. But I don't feel anything with those. They're just not for me. I know you love it.
They're more a numerologic thing. I mean, that one, they're actually, we actually do the Earth and our planets line up in this galaxy to the galactic center.
Right. That's at like 27 Sagittarius, I think, something like that.
And that's, that's one little thing out of all the gazillion things that could happen on a chart. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. I know some people love that stuff. Okay.
Well, I always mention them 1122. I just mention them because I can mention anything because I do everything. So it doesn't matter.
That's a good point.
Carmi wants to know, I'm glad I found you. My daughter's having a hard time now. Seems insurmountable. She was born April 1st, 1983. She can't draw a whole chart for you, but we can look at. She's an Aries.
Yeah, let's look at April 1st is early. It's mid-Aries. I can look at it with the ephemeris, but I'm not pulling up a chart today. Can't do that. What is it? 1983. I do have that in here. There's a lot going on that's really tough these days. A lot of people are feeling that insurmountable. And if this is where you could, as her mother, just have a session. I do that for parents who are really wanting to help their kids, because
Dorothy can help you. And trust me, if she's really in insurmountable problems, we don't want to discuss them in our chart.
Right. Yeah, she's an Aries sun and Mercury and Mars. There's a lot of Aries in her chart. So a lot of things that are really feisty right now. And, it just depends on what, you can't pinpoint it. per se, just by looking at what's going on here. Because I don't know house placements. I don't know. There's a lot that we can't tell just by looking, but I'm looking at an ephemeris. If you know what ephemeris is, here, if you want to talk about geometry, here's the book of numbers.
Right. That's your bus schedule for the sky.
Right. And so to see the date that she's born on, but not to get into any, I can't get into any of the bigger details because we just don't know. It just depends on what's going on. I mean, these planets that are coming in to do their retrogrades in Aries, it's right near her sun. Her sun would be around 11 degrees of Aries, and Mercury stations at 9 to go retrograde. Venus stopped at 10 and went retrograde, and the new moon solar eclipse on March the new moon solar eclipse on March 29th is at 9 degrees. So it's really close to her sun. So that means that there is something in her life that she is, since it's before the number that her sun is, she's needing to let some things go because everything's happening in the period of the balsamic phase. So if she's in a critical state, a real critical situation, she needs help. So get her, or do what you can to convince her. She's an adult, but do what you can to convince her to get medical help, because you can't treat this, it's hard. People don't always want help when they really need it the most. And if she's an adult,
away some pain you can't pray away.
No. Mm-mm. And so these eclipses and the things I just spoke about, she would be feeling very stuck, and they are insurmountable. So if they're insurmountable, the only thing you can do is what is absolutely right in front of your face. This is, for everybody, even when I get overwhelmed and I can't do anything, it's just like, okay, sometimes when it gets so bad, I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, the only thing you can do is just stop and recognize that you need to breathe a little deeper. I don't know. I'm not trying to minimize anything, but that is what we do when it comes to when there's just things that are just so huge, because you can't handle the huge pile. You can only handle one thing at a time. So she needs to help herself too. And I know as a mom, we're like, oh, I want to help them as much as I can. So yeah, she's in an opportunity for that to happen. Yeah.
Debbie is spending more time outdoors, which is really important.
Perfect.
Right now, connecting to nature, because looking up in the sky at stars we can't really touch, but they can touch us. I can remember someone arguing with me in the 70s when I was studying astrology about, oh, those planets are so far away. I said, you want to go tell the edge of the Atlantic Ocean that when it comes to
no kidding. Yeah, I know. I know. Yes. And so Debbie, you're right. And yes, you send that to Barbara. And I love that too, because the Virgo full moon that is before all those Aries things I just mentioned. It's Virgo, it's Earth. It's reminding us to get back to right now and what our daily patterns are, our daily habits are. I've already mentioned sometimes we go too heavy on them and we need to let them go. And and it's Earth. So it just is about, just really reconnecting. It's been so cold here in New England. And as soon as we're done, I am out. As soon as we're done, because I'm an hour after you on your time zone. But as soon as we're out, it's like I am going for a walk in this one area. It's got a gorgeous waterfall. And if you're on my Facebook page, you'll see it later this afternoon. And because it's just, I gotta go connect. It's just, I gotta get outside. It's been such a cold winter. I haven't been outside much. I'll spend 2 or 3 days inside, not go anywhere. And that is so not me, but it is in the winter.
Yeah, well, look at me. I fold up and turn into a weak little wallflower when it gets to 40. Dorothy laughs at my idea of what winter is. It's
that's nice, Debbie. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so the astrology these days is just here to there's too much going on, right? and too much going on and too much confusion. And that is the focus of, Neptune, right? Because Neptune in Pisces, coming to the end of Pisces, can create a lot of illusion, and we can't see things clearly for a lot of it. So I like to just soften my gaze, right, when I'm feeling that way, just metaphorically speaking, and just try to do what I can to smooth the rough edges. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do any of that stuff, but I can get lost in a puzzle or just listen to some music. And you just have to soften your gaze and just put some protection around yourself and just be in your own space, even though, the world is burning around us, burning down around us.
It seems
And
like this.
it does. But some people think it's a good thing. I can't fathom that, but it's not me.
I can tell you one thing you can do to make my life a little nicer and Dorothy's. Go hit the like button.
Yeah.
And if you find stuff is interesting, then then share it with someone you thought might want to know. This is how you can use astrology, and there are astrologers who do different things. There are archetypical astrologers who follow the major outer planet movements and follow it through history and tell you, oh, when those guys got together, there was always a plague, which I guess is interesting intellectually.
Yeah.
But,
it is.
But for you, for us, for what people that kind of tend to come to my channel, it's like I've been telling you since things took a move and went awry, to put it mildly, in November. I said, go back inside, because that's all I got from my guides, and that's how you can handle it, because if you, I've said this so many times on my show, but I had a friend who really got into the everyday today. Oh my God, look, they did this, and they're going to come.
I know, after a while, you have to just back off from that.
I said, look, I'm not going to support you having a stroke. So what we're going to do is you're going to write down the trauma of today on a sticky note and put it up somewhere where you'll find it in a couple days, and tell me what's happening. Because I can tell you guys, I worked in politics. I understand propaganda. I understand how we try to force people's minds in the wrong direction. And I watched the first whole news show last Wednesday. I watched Rachel Maddow for the whole hour. And I actually sat through the commercials and normally I try to set things up to fast forward through it. But I thought, it's been so long since I sat through a commercial, because, man, I pre-tape everything, and yep, those guys are gone. And I began to realize those really are important mental syncing things we need to have. Changes the pace. But, every Sunday I read with Scott, but I will not read fear, because when you read fear, when you let someone make you afraid, then they control you.
Yeah.
And I understand you're concerned, Carmi. I totally understand. I had a child last year that I thought was couch surfing, quite honestly, to stay alive. And finally, they are in a totally different place now. You look where they were a year ago and where they are now, they're still not as insecure feet as I would like, because I can hear the little pitter patter of their toes coming towards my door at times. But, and I thought at points he was in real danger, that things could go bad. But all I could do was talk to him and support what he was trying to do and keep him moving forward. That's all you can do for that child. And so I've been where you are, and my heart hurts for you, because it's so powerless. You thought, man, and I thought the worst was changing dirty diapers.
It's when they're older. And you worry about a lot. Yeah, we worry about a lot. But I mean, we just can't say, it'll be fine in the end, because it probably will be, but that is dismissive. and doesn't allow people to feel what they're feeling. And usually when we feel out of control or super critical, it just, again, you just have to come right back to where you are now, just so you can just find that moment in time where you
And
just feel.
that includes if you're listening to, I'll listen to different, Dorothy, I do listen to other astrologers other than you.
That's fine. Everybody should.
I'll listen to some of them. And I was listening to one the other night. I started listening to one show and I went, this has so many trigger words in it that I don't need to hear. So I turned it off. And then the next morning he was back on again. And I thought, I'll give him another 5 minutes and see. And it was a totally different kind of reading. And I got some information out of it that I ended up using in my show yesterday about the passage of time. So you have to deal with it discriminately. And, and it's, people say, oh, but you're having a closed mind. You're not listening to all the elements. Damn right. It's my mind. If I want to close, I'm putting it up.
We need to just, stay away from the breaking news, critical news, breaking news. It's just, we have to, and while on any day, on any year, except for what we're experiencing right now, any one of those things would have been breaking news, but every day it's like 3 or 4 times a day.
The phrase for me is, I used to work in public broadcasting, and the word for me when I listen to breaking news, you're breaking the news. You're taking it so nothing is new. Everything has to be laid out on some giant timeline, which we learn to do. You learn to do when you work with the occult things. You can do 1-card readings, but it's never going to tell you everything you need to know unless you're having a complete download.
Yeah. And people here is talking about Bernie. It's like, Bernie is doing amazing. And I agree with that. And for me, one of the ways that is real important for me too is like, I'll read it. I'll go to a lot of the people that I that I listen to a lot. Yeah, very good. Yes. Indigo Child. That's awesome. The people I used to listen to a lot is still, for my body right now, the way it's just like too much. I'm going to their Substack and reading Substack now, because a lot of the people that you find on wherever you listen to them, most of them will have Substack that they can write out, and I'm reading that because I don't feel emotion when I read, as opposed to being everything's. Oh, I almost swore. Everything's effing critical, and it's so, I just get annoyed with that, as you can tell. And so to read it, I stay informed, and then I don't have to, my adrenal system isn't total maxed out. Because, with this Virgo full moon, this Virgo lunar eclipse as well, if you have health situations, anything, it can stir up right now because of all of what you're paying attention to, because Virgo rules, if you will, the day-to-day food or the day-to-day things, so your digestion, and it's not the elimination process, if you know what I mean there, but the digestion. So IBS, heartburn, things like that. I'm susceptible to those things. Anybody with Virgo rising is. I got a planet in Virgo. It's just, I'm very susceptible. And I noticed that going on about a week or so ago. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? And so I was like, I'm so stressed about what I've been listening to. And it's upsetting my stomach, and creating a lot of, of yucky symptoms. You got to pay attention to that if you are a person who's sensitive to those things. Virgo sun, moon, rising, or lunar nodes, or, if you have some of the inner planets in Virgo, you're going to want to pay attention to those things, because it will impact your health, which really stinks. And that's Virgo. And that full moon eclipse will reveal that to us. Even though it's not until Thursday. I just figured it out a week ago. And I'm like, oh, it's that. Good. Now I know.
Now you know.
Now I know. Now I can definitely know when my stomach starts to feel weird. It's like, oh, what am I stressing about? What's going on? All right, go do something that decompresses me. And I do. You've got to do it too. We all have to do it. So
I'm going to post a YouTube site. It's called Beasts of the Old World. It's in comments. And the reason I'm posting it is It has, let's see, I can't show it. Yeah, I can show it because I can show my own thing. Yeah. Look at me talking about me. Um, they've got about 30 or 40 very well put together short
Yeah.
Celtic myths. And it's really more the dark side. I mean, Celtic myths are incredibly rich and that they have a lot of wonderful, like when you read the Celtic creation myth, it was a man and it was a male and a female energy coming together. Neither one dominated the other. And when you read about it, it's just incredibly um, empowering.
Yeah.
But they also gave birth to a lot of critters, and the critters that they gave birth to are the elementals that Danny and I are going to be
Oh,
talking about.
I
And
love that.
the elementals are like we are, and it's like on your chart. You can have a good thing, or it can be a bad thing. And
Mhm.
elementals are like that. They choose whether they can be very mischievous, and if you get along with them, they're fine. It's not just the Celts. In Mexico, they have they're fairy gnomish sort of creatures called Alushas, and
Mm.
they actually do the same thing the Celts did. They put out food for them,
Yeah.
feeds them, and if the farmers and the people working the land work with them, um, they're absolutely wonderful. If you screw them around, they will come get you. I mean,
And I've seen that in I don't know, somebody in Ireland I was following, and um just on TikTok, I think. And she just talks about a lot of Irish lore.
oh
And
yeah,
it's beautiful because, besides a tree in the middle of a field, which can provide shade for the livestock, but lots of times these little fairy holes. And
mhm.
the farmers just they'll go around it. They'll never cut that tree
Oh,
down.
the
They'll
fair,
never clear that land. It's fairyland, and you can't touch it. And
well,
you
there's
actually, yeah,
yeah,
that's
there's this
crazy.
part of when after World War II, the British came in and they went, "Why are your roads wandering all over the place? Why are you wandering around these woods? We'll just chip off a part of that woods and that'll make the road straight." And all the people were going, "Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's
Don't do
going to
that."
cost you money.
And yeah, and so they they cleared a road. It's right in the middle of Ireland where they did it. They cleared this road right through this woods, and 10 years later, they went back, tore the road up, made it go around the woods, and replanted all the trees and asked all the wise old women and the wise men of the area to come and talk to the critters. If you screw with an elemental, they will screw back. That one stretch of road, which is about less than 2 miles,
Mhm.
had more accidents than any other road in Britain. I
Jeepers.
mean,
I love
and
that stuff.
and in Mexico, I have a picture, and I don't know that I can call it up. Oh,
Yeah.
go away. Um, it's not going to let me get to it. I
That's
have a
okay.
picture of an overpass in Mexico between the airport and Cancun. And
Mhm.
the first 3 times that Mexico built this highway, this one section of the road would just collapse no matter what they did, no matter how they built it. Finally, the people of the area came to and they said, "You built that over an Alusha palace site where it had a palace." So there is
Mm.
a picture of this superhighway going over, and underneath is the most gorgeous Mexican palace house built for people about this tall.
Wow.
So, and
That'll be a fun show. I'll watch it. That
and
sounds like a lot of fun.
we're going to talk about the silkies, which are the seals that
Yeah.
when they pull off their seal skin, they look like a person.
Yeah. The
And
mermaid.
there's a lot of legends about men stealing the silkies off the beach
Yeah.
and hiding the skin, and they can't go back to the ocean without the skin in it.
Yeah. 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 That's good. Oh, all right, Cammy. We'll do says some good vibes for her.
We
Yeah. Well,
will. Well,
when
Carmen,
there's relationship things going on right now, that Venus and Aries that's retrograde is stirring up a lot of contention if you have some stress in a relationship. So if that's going on, I know you're worried about it, but if that's going on right now, then that's kind of what is supposed to be going on. I mean, if you're having stress in relationships, then the time to bring it to the surface. So,
Mhm.
and it will get it can get feisty. It doesn't have to, but it can get feisty
Mhm.
because Aries can definitely be argumentative, and people can have big arguments and blowouts. But no, it'll be okay. I'm sure it is. We'll send her some good stuff. Is that
Yeah,
last
I
comment there?
mean,
We will.
thing we would love to be able to help. Trust me, there's so many people that are in pain and trouble and indeed concern right now, and I can tell by the fact you keep talking about it that it's really, really important around you, Carmi. But like I said, Dorothy's there. You know how to reach her. I'm reachable for a private reading.
Yeah.
You're talking about levels of stuff. We want to support you in the chat, but we will not expose you
Yeah.
the way it could happen. So,
Right.
well, that's Dorothy's.
Trust that you taught her well to take care of herself, even though this
Yeah.
is a yucky situation.
Barbara is sending love and light to your daughter.
Yeah. We
Anybody
all are.
who's set up to light a candle, light one for her.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because you'd be amazed how much that can help, but
Yeah.
and I think it's worse when you're a parent watching it go on.
It is, because she's learning to stand up for herself and take care of herself. And I mean, she's in her 40s now. She's born in 83. So yeah, she got this. Stressful for mom. At some point, you have to just say, hey, your personal problems, you got to go talk to somebody who is an authority on that. I'm your mom, not.
I'm here to support you and love you. One of my children went through that and became aware of the fact that they were a hyperactive adult and they needed some other ways to control their temperament.
Yeah.
Let me put it to you this way. Every time they came home and the police weren't chasing their car because they killed somebody, we figured it was a good day.
It was a good day.
And finally, that child went off and found the right people and the right meds and has recently got all the meds lined up and together. Thank God.
Terrific. Yeah, that is good.
If this didn't do it for you guys, we'll probably never get to that point.
There you go. I know. This is so true. All right.
Well, Dorothy, it was lovely having you here. I hope people will go over and try out your courses and try out your readings. And I do readings too. And come and visit Danny and I.
Yeah. That'll be good.
On Thursday. And it's just going to be a fun show. We're just going to talk. We got some wonderful. I sent Danny a couple of the shows, and there's one about a guy who has a gnome in his basement that drinks all this booze.
I can't wait. That's going to be a great show. I'm going to watch.
Danny said, "I got one of those in my house." And I said,
"It's looking in the mirror while he says it." I don't know. Make it fun.
There are a lot. It's really, I think, and the elementals have, since they joined my plethora of things I've been in touch with. They're wonderful, but they're about to trot out, guys. They come out on the solstices and equinoxes. Is big time for them to break through. So they will be there, and they show us the best and the worst of ourselves. So
they sure do.
When you take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Dorothy. Talking to you the rest of you on Thursday. Bye.